I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, a disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the things in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep my face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the things in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
What is going on, my fellow Remnant 2 gaming community? It is D Werewolf Gaming, back with another Remnant 2 video. Alright, I hope everybody has been doing well and staying safe. Today guys, this video today will focus on bringing you builds that are still viable on Apocalypse, guys. Today I will showcase 6 powerful builds that you can use right now if you're new and you do have these items, or if you're a returning veteran player who haven't been playing Remnant 2 for a while. With that being said, guys, I want to give a big thank you for everyone that continues to support me on this channel, especially those who always have something positive to say, guys. This channel is always about that positivity, and I really appreciate each and every one of you that always takes time to leave a comment or give some sort of feedback, and also give me a thumbs up when you do like the video. With that being said as well, if you're new to this channel, guys, you like my content, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe. It does not cost a thing. And also turn on that notification bell so you can know whenever I do release Remnant 2 videos. Alright guys, these 6 builds that I will showcase today are very powerful. There are builds that I have been using continuously throughout my gameplay in Remnant 2. The only downside to these builds, guys, is some of them will require a lot of grinding between now and the next DLC release, which comes out on September 24th. So these builds are subject to change, but if you are a veteran player, you may already have a lot of these items, so you will be able to easily put these builds together and enjoy these items with the last 5 days that we do have left as of me recording this video right now. With that being said, guys, I will let you continue watching the rest of these boss fights, and at the end of the video, we will go over the build breakdown for each item. I won't spend a whole lot of time on these items, guys. But if you are subscribed to the channel, you have seen some of these videos before, so you know these videos. You can, and also guys, if you want to pause the video, especially when I'm going over the build breakdown, just to look at the items that I'm using, You can easily do that, so that way you can search for some of these items to be able to use to put together to make these your builds and make them your own. These are always just blueprints, things for you to use, guys. You can always change them up to work, because a lot of these items are interchangeable. If you don't have one item, guys, you can easily replace it with something else. Alright guys, so if you like the video, again, please remember to give it a thumbs up at the end. Alright, as soon as we finish fighting these bosses, we will go with a build breakdown. Alright guys, so I hope that was enough gameplay of me showcasing these builds, just to show you how powerful these builds are on Apocalypse, and to show you that these builds are still very valuable. Now, as far as, you know, when September 24th gets here, I don't know how valuable these builds are going to be, but as of right now, they're very fun to use. The only downside, like I said earlier, is that some new players may not have some of these items. With that being said, when we go over the build, the builds, guys. I will not talk about every item within the build because, for one, guys, I have a tendency to lose my voice whenever I do go. You know, as of right now, I am losing my voice, so apologize for that. But I will still try to break down some of the items. But my goal is to leave a description, leave a link for every one of these builds in the description, so that way you can find it. And if you are already subscribed to me to my channel, guys, you've seen these builds before. All right, so these builds are not coming in any particular order, but the first build I will showcase is when I was using the Savior long gun. All right, and with this particular build, guys, I did use the Hunter and the Gunslinger classes, guys. With the Hunter, I did use the Focus with the Bullet Storm skill. I did use that with the Gunslinger class. All right, your armor, whichever armor you prefer, and the Savior was the star of the show, guys. And I did use the Tranquil Heart Relic, and use whichever fragment charge you prefer. It did not really matter, guys, on this particular build. All right, you do want to make sure you use that supercharger mutator, though. That way you'll be able to shoot the gun very, very quickly. All right, and your rings, guys, probability core to increase critical damage. I did use the Federate Binding Ring to decrease the weapon charge time and increase the projectile speed. I did use Anastasia's Inspiration to gain haste. That increases the actions of everything you do. And Archer's Crest Ring as well to increase projectile speed and decrease weapon charge time. All right, Necklace of Supremacy. After not being damaged for 5 seconds, you get increasing all damage by 15%. If at full health, that damage is increased to 30%. All right, here's a glance of other amulets that you could use this build, guys. And your traits, as usually, use whichever traits works best for you in your particular gameplay. And tonics as well. Alright, this next build was the Star Killer Explosive build. Alright, Archon was the prime, guys. That way you can generate 15 mod power per second. Casting a mod, casting a mod doubles this value. I mainly use the Summoner for the Dominator trait, guys, to grant 35% increase to mod and skill damage and explosive damage. Alright, and the Tormented Heart Relic, guys, since this was an explosive build, that worked great with this particular setup because you get 20% life steal, and you get whenever you do lose it, you have explosive damage as well. All right, the Star Killer long gun is amazing, guys. You fire a gravity core, basically is the name of it, and it fires a spear that creates a large gravity well, sucks the enemies in, and it explodes after 4 seconds, dealing damage. I did use the feedback mutator to generate 20% of single charge value as passive mod power. And the melee weapon did not matter. And the Angus was the handgun, guys. You rapidly fire these these needles that explode after a certain period, dealing explosive damage. And I did use the bullet mutator to increase fire rate by 20% and generate 15% of mod power. All right, Burden of the Socialist Ring, you get increasing mod and skill damage by 15%. Did use the Shard Branded Ring to get increasing mod damage by 12%. All right, the Blasting Cap Ring, since this is an explosive build, to increase explosive damage by 15%. And I did use the Catalog's Jewel Ring to generate 10% of mod per second. But if you wanted more damage, you could have used the Burden of the Destroyer Ring to get increasing all damage by 15%. All right, your amulet, I did choose the Detonation Trigger to get explosive damage increased by 25%, and it applies burning as well. Now, your traits didn't really matter with this particular build, guys. Use whichever traits work best for you, but you do need the Kinship trait to reduce friendly fire damage. Since this is an explosive build, guys, you will be probably take some explosive damage. All right, the next build was one of my favorite builds, guys. You use the Invoker with the Archon, and basically the Invoker class gives you 2 skills and skill charges. Way of Kaola was the main skill for the Invoker. Basically, you get haste and you apply Drench, which slows the enemies down. And the Archon, I did use the Havoc form to be able to use the Lightning Tendrils to shock the enemies. But if you aim it, you can create a shield, and you get a blink dodge whenever using it. All right, you did need the Shielded Heart Relic on this build, guys, and you will see why when I do go over that part. Your relic shards didn't really matter, but I did have elemental damage, mod damage, and 15% consumable use speed. All right, Monolith, guys. That way I can keep sustained damage on the enemies. Whenever you shoot the enemies, you will apply expose, which increases all damage they take by 15%. And it creates a sandstorm, guys, that whenever it kills those enemies that are taking elemental damage from the sandstorm, it will move on to the next enemy. I did use the Spell Weaver Mutator to be able to generate more mod and skill coming back pretty fast, Your melee weapon did not matter. Your nebula debuff the enemies, allowing you to do 10% more damage, and I did use the feedback mutator on this particular setup. Conservation seal, guys, so that way for every 10 health missing, you gain a chance to not consume a relic. Burn and destroy to increase all damage by 15%. Timekeeper's Jewel, this extends the duration of all status effects. And restriction core, you need this, guys. It restricts your health from healing above 50%. And the emergency switch, this also, whenever below 50% health, it reduces the chance of you consuming a relic. Here's an example of that, guys. As you can see, I'm taking my relic. I got a 100% chance to not consume a relic because of this particular build. Now, you could easily, since this was a skill build as well, guys, you could have used the Crimson Dreamstone, and critical hits increase skill damage by 2%, stacks up to 10 times. So you can get it to 20%, guys. But when I was changing this out, I did not really notice a whole lot. Use whichever traits work best for you. All right, this next setup, guys, uses the Nightfall as the main setup with this particular gun, guys. Archon was the prime with the Hunter as being the secondary, and your skill did not matter. I did use the Chaos Gate to generate to basically deal increase in damage by 35%, but keep in mind you will take 15% increase in all damage. All right, with the Hunter's focus skill, you know, you could have used any of the Hunter skills on this particular setup. All right, your armor did not matter, and I did use the Tranquil Heart Relic, but you could have used the other relic you prefer. The Tranquil Heart Relic passively regenerates health, and since this was a range-based build, guys, everything was based on dealing range damage. Your melee weapon did not matter. The star of the show was the Nightfall. Long gun, guys, you enter the Nightmare realm, gain 25% increase in fire rate, infinite ammo, and 10% base damage as life steal. The momentum mutator was the one I did choose, guys, which increases critical hit and critical hit chance, critical hit damage and critical hit chance. All right, your nebula as well was another. That way you can debuff the enemies and do 10% more damage. All right, profitability core to increase critical damage by 20%. A burden and destroy increases all damage by 15%. I did use the leaking gemstone, which allows 20% of the mod to generate while the mod is active, and the offering stone. Dealing range damage increases all damage by 1%, stacks up to 15 times. Killing an enemy extends the duration by 10 seconds. Now you could have used any amulet. The full moon circle would have worked great, guys, because range damage automatically steals 3% of base damage. The slight steal at full health, you gain 25% increase in range damage. Another amulet that worked great with this build was the Cost of Betrayal amulet as well. You gain 25% increase in all damage, but you will only have one relic when using that. And if you do use that relic, guys, you will have increase in damage taken by 25%. All right, the Necklace of Supremacy as well. After not being damaged for 5 seconds, you gain 15% increase in all damage. If at full health, guys, you will do 30% increase in damage. And since this was a range build, the Zero Divide amulet worked great as well because you gain infinite ammo and also increase in range damage by 15%. All right, as far as your traits, use whichever traits works best for you. This next build is very similar, guys, except we're using the Hunter and the Gunslinger, with the Hunter being the prime and the Gunslinger being the secondary. Really won't go over this too much, guys, since we've already talked about the Hunter, using the Hunter's focus skill and the Bullet Storm skill already. But this was the setup when using the Nightfall long gun setup as well for this particular build. All right, so I did use the Tranquil Heart, but you do want to use that -10 mod cost so that we can get your mods back pretty quickly on this particular build. Everything else as far as the Nightfall stayed the same. Your ring stayed the same as well, guys. The only ring that you will see that I did change out was the Catalog's Jewel ring. I am using it now to generate 10% mod power per second. And the amulet that you will need to use in this build is the Magnifying Glass, which increases skill and mod duration by 30% and the AoE and oral size by 20%. But you mainly want to get that duration of the mod basically by that 30%. That's the main reason why you're using this. All right, as usual, your traits did not matter on this build, guys. Basically, it stayed the same as it was with the previous build using the Nightfall setup, but this build works great as well on Apocalypse. All right, this next build is another very powerful build, guys. I could not use leave the Ritualist out. The Ritualist is great for dishing out amazing dot damage on Apocalypse, and as you already know, guys, the Invoker, you get double base skill charges, and so that's the main thing with the Invoker. All right, and the Ritualist skill is all about basically dishing out elemental damage, guys. You get the Miasma skill, which basically what that does is you cast an AoE burst that applies bleeding, burning, overloaded, and corrosive to all enemies within a certain distance, guys. Your armor did not matter, guys. Now, this was a lifesteal build as well, guys. So I did have the Profane Heart Relic on. You gain 3% innate lifesteal bonus on use. It increases lifesteal accuracy by 50% for 15 seconds. I did have plus 10% mod damage, plus 10% elemental damage, and plus 20% mod and skill cast speed. All right, as far as your long gun, guys, the monolith long gun was great with this build, guys. Be able to keep that sustained damage helps out a lot with that lifesteal. Now the rings, I did use the Shadow of Mystery to increase status effect by 20%. Timekeeper's Jewel to extend the elemental status effect duration. All right, this ring you may not have. It is the Honey Crystal Ring. It deals 5% additional damage for each unique status effect they're suffering from, and Burden of the Spirit increases all damage by 15%. Now the Honey Crystal Ring is another one of those rings that you have to complete hardcore mode to obtain, and Legacy Protocol to extend is a great amulet as well to extend the duration, reduce the amount of time it takes to get your skills back. As far as your traits go, use whichever works best for you guys. I do recommend you do use that. Use the amplitude trait to increase the AOE aura size based on this particular build. And if you take a look at my traits, I did have triage and regrowth, and I did have a lot of lifesteal in this build. So this is a very powerful build for being able to survive on Apocalypse, guys. So as you can see, I had Siphoner, I had Shakar, guys, 10 points in that. Did have Leech as well to increase lifesteal accuracy by 50%. And I even had Gluttony on this build. So this build had a little bit of everything. This is a very powerful build that I recommend you give it a try if you haven't never used this particular type of build on Apocalypse. Alright guys, thank you for your valuable time today as always. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Be well, Wolf out.